All right, we're talking skis today. I'm going to get into several things about some of the new skis from Atomic, starting with construction, shape, and everybody's favorite question, mounting positions. Let's do it. Well, I'm super fired up to be talking about some new skis from Atomic, and these are the Mavericks. And the Maverick line has been around for a little while, but this last year for 2024, things have gotten solidified across the lines, across the different skis. So it really just makes a more cohesive mix. So now in the Backland series, the Backlands are all dedicated ski touring skis, really made for the backcountry. And then we have the Ben Shetler line, which is that real playful freestyle ski. And then for the all mountain charging skis, we have the Mavericks and as well as the Mavens. So the Mavericks are total evolution of skis that Atomic has been working on. And it kind of started with the Backland 117, which was one of my favorite skis for a lot of years running. And the Backland 117 was sort of this middle ground where it was in the Backland series, so it was sort of a backcountry ski, but it was also sort of a kind of all mountain charging skis. People in the Freeride World Tour would use it, and I would use it. It was good for backcountry skiing, but it didn't really fit. So we really wanted to make just a more of a hard charger, a more of an all mountain ski. And we already had Mavericks in the lineup, but we didn't have one that was as wide as the 115. And then really an evolution into these more hard charging skis that weren't just about kind of groomers and crud, but really could kind of do it all. So really working on the ski has been a really fun project. And myself, as well as a bunch of the other athletes on the team, were all part of the process. And 2 years ago, we started testing and skiing in the prototype phase. And after a few prototypes, I was pretty blown away, and I ended up skiing the prototype the rest of that season. Then comes the last season where we really got the full team on board. It was tested and proven in the Freeride World Tour. We got to ski it at film trips. I skied the ski pretty much my whole season and just really continued to love it. So let's get into some of the details, some of the construction, and some of what makes it so great. Here we go. So the Maverick 115 CTI is the full name of the ski, and it comes in several sizes. So we have a 193, a 185, and a 177. Now, waist widths are all 115. Tip and tails change depending on that size, just slightly. But what you have is a real versatile ski, super fun, hard charging, but still keeps some playfulness and pop. And how does it do that? Well, some of the construction leads to that. So before we talk full construction, let's talk shape. Now, the ski, a little bit narrower waist than the old 117, but really just kind of turns the Mavericks into more directional ski. When it comes to the 115, it has the power rocker, is what Atomic calls it. So, which is a combination of 30% tip rocker, 50% camber underfoot, and then followed up by 20% tail rocker. So quite a bit less than, say, the Ben Shetlers or the previous Backland 117s. This creates just a more stable tail, and the tail still has a bit of twin tip, but it's more squared off. One of the things that I love about the square tail, not only is its stiffness and its real kind of in finishing the turn, but also when you're landing, when you have a twin tip, or especially a rounded kind of tall twin tip, when you go to put the tails down and you land in air, the tails can be a little bit squirrely at times. With that tail squared off and flatter, when you lay the ski down, it just stomps for you. It's really a pretty fun and kind of exciting way to feel the ski. It really just gives you the confidence that you're landing strong. So that's one thing about the rocker profile. Now let's get into the construction. What's in there? Well, we got a wood core, and not only is a wood core, there's also the CTI part of it, it's got carbon, which gives the ski a lot of pop and liveliness, and then some Titanol in there as well. And the Titanol just gives it extra stability, extra strength, extra dampness. The Titanol is just in the underfoot section, so it really just has stability underfoot, but then it's also not all the way up and down, so it doesn't give you unnecessary weight. The carbon goes all the way along the ski, and that just provides a ton of pop. And then the core, which is wood core, poplar and ash mix, goes all the way to the tip here, which is kind of cool the way the Horizon Tech works. So this one has a Horizon 3D tip. So the core goes all the way to the tip, and you have the Horizon Tech on the sides, which just add more flotation and keep the tip nice and light. All in all, the thing is just such a fun ski. It rips around the resort, whether it's crud, pow, whatever whatever you have, it'll do it. In the Backland series, we have a full range of like primo backcountry skis, but this thing can be mounted up with a backcountry touring binding, and yeah, it's going to be much heavier and more stout of a ski, but if you're doing short little tours and you just really want that chargingness, it can handle it. So pretty versatile, and yeah, just one of the most fun skis I've been on in a long time. For me, I'm mostly a directional skier, so having a ski that is a kind of more directional, not that you can't go backwards on it, it's just not, that's not what it excels at. Continuing on from the Maverick 115 CTI, we also have the 105 CTI. Few slight changes in that. Let's go over those. All right, so with the 105, we got an even larger range in sizes, a 170, a 178, a 185, and the 191. I skied on the 185 last year, and this is a pretty awesome all-mountain ski for maybe those not the deepest days, more the kind of hard pack, chundery, or kind of wind buffy days. And pretty much has a lot of similarities to the 115. Shape similarities, construction similarities. There's a few things where it differs. It still has the 3D Horizon Tech. So similarly, the core goes all the way to the tip. You have Horizon Tech on the sides, more flotation. We got a black base on these with some pops in the top and bottom. And then the profile of the rocker is slightly different. So even a little bit more directional and even a little bit more for that kind of inbounds charging ski. So rocker profiles on the 105 is what Atomic refers to as the all mountain rocker. So it's 20% a tip rocker, 65% camber underfoot, and then 15% tail rocker. So a flatter, straighter tail, a lot less twin tip in this, still has the nice squared off tail, and really just provides even more kind of directional charging for really like the all condition, all mountain. So as far as freeride skis go, between the 105 and the 115, I'm so dialed and been really fired up on these skis. I hadn't skied on this 105 until just last season. I tried it out in December and I had to have one, and it ended up being one of my favorite skis. All right, so last but not least, let's get into mounting. Now, mounting position is a bit of a personal preference and always a little bit of a tricky subject. It's one of the questions that I get asked the most on social media, in real life, and it's one of these things that is pretty important about where you mount the ski and how the ski skis. So for me, mounting position, I really like a well-balanced ski, and I want the ski to perform the way it's supposed to, but also feel the way I want it to feel underfoot. And on the Backland 117s, I like to go about 3 centimeters behind true center, that is tip to tail center, which was about 3 centimeters in front of the factory recommended line. Now on the Maverick 115s, I still ski it pretty similar. Now, why do I like it there? Well, it's still about the center of the side cut and about the center of the running length. So this, where the ski is touching down, you're fairly centered. You're still back from the true center of ski, so you still have more tip than tail, but it provides a nice middle ground where the ski finishes turns really nicely. The tip isn't so long that it's dragging or hooking, but you also have a kind of even swing weight and good position on the ski. So on the longer skis, on the 193s, I go with +3 in front of the factory, and I found that to be really awesome. That's how I skied on the prototypes. That's how I skied this longer one. When I downsized into the 185, I switched it to 2.5 centimeters forward of factory recommended. Again, this is behind true center. It still gives you a pretty long tail, but not too long. Now on the 105s, because they're a little bit flatter, a little bit straighter of a ski, on the 105, I went with the factory recommended to start with, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. It has a much flatter tail, and so by moving the binding forward, you're going to get a longer tail, and the way the turn finishes will feel a bit different. After I skied it for maybe a week or two on the factory recommended line, I thought, well, I'd probably want this to be a little more forward. Let's try that out. I moved it up 2 centimeters, so 2 centimeters forward of factory, and found that I definitely noticed on the first kind of day of doing that the turns kind of finished a little slower, tail had a little bit more hook to it, but once I got used to it, I ended up really liking it. So that's my recommended is +2 cms on the 105, on the Backland 115, +2.5 for the 85, and if you're riding the 193, +3 is the sweet spot. I hope that helps. You'll have to figure it out for yourself, as is kind of the mounting game. And one of my favorite ways to tell where I like the ski is before I mount them, I set them on the ground and I stand on them. And I sort of shift my feet around to what looks good, what feels good. And then from there, I kind of adjust to where the bindings would be and what that would actually look like. And that just kind of gives you a feel for what it would be like if you move the bindings forward, put them right on factory, whatever, before you go through the effort and drilling your skis. So that's my recommended kind of mounting positions. Hope it helps. So while I like to mount my skis a little bit forward of the factory line, I know that some of the other athletes like Amar, he prefers to have his, I think, on factory or even a tiny bit behind. So it's really kind of knowing your skiing preference, what it is you're looking for, and how you like the ski to feel. Hope that helps. Good luck. All in all, I'm super impressed with the Mavericks, and not only do they charge really well, they still have a lot of playfulness to them. I'm the type of skier that I love going fast. I love being able to just chop through, charge down, go as fast as I can, but I also want to have a good time and want the ski to be playful and poppy. And I just can't believe how well they deliver both. Having that Titanol in them for just stability, and then having the carbon inside to add just the liveliness and pop to them. I've just been totally blown away. I think you're going to love them. Thanks for watching. Hit me up in the comments if you have questions. If I didn't cover anything or if something was confusing, love reading the comments and appreciate you watching. Have a good day. See ya.